Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Desire Dialogues. This is your sex, love, and relationship coach, Lauren, and I'm so happy for you to be with us today. I have a special guest for you. My friends, you're going to talk today and hear from Jennifer Jolicoeur. If you don't know Jennifer Jolicoeur, she is a sexual and pleasure empowerment industry leader. My goodness gracious, my friends, we will talk about Athena's Home Novelties, based out of Woonsocket, Rhode Island, since 1998, where we bring in-home parties to the safety of your own home to show you all the different items that you can feel and touch and taste. Everybody's pants stay on. Don't worry, it's not one of those parties. I love that. That's a random misconception. My friends, we are going to talk about Jennifer's long-lasting love with her incredible husband, Curtis, and get some tips and tricks. And thanks so much. It was a pleasure to join with you today. I appreciate it.
Oh, Lauren, I just love being in your presence. I mean, whenever we're together, we have great conversation, lots of laughs, and I just appreciate you having me on your wonderful podcast today.
Thank you so much. The honor's all mine. So what I love to ask my people, what was your sex education like growing up?
Well, I grew up in the 70s into the 80s, Lauren, and what a time that was. Sex education in school, they pretty much separated the boys and the girls.
Ooh.
The girls learned about periods, boys learned about whatever they learned about. I'm assuming wet dreams and erections. I don't know. They certainly didn't learn about cunnilingus and where the clitoris was. We know that for sure. But I would say that the best part of my sex education came from watching General Hospital every day after school with my grandmother. And my father was furious with my grandmother, saying, please do not watch soap operas with my 9-year-old, you know. But I would run home from school so that I could watch Luke and Laura and Scorpio and all of those great characters do their thing. And, you know, there's these rolling around in satin sheets
Very
scenes.
sexy.
Oh my God, and hair throwing back, and it was so sensual, and I could not wait to have sex. And then you have a teenage boy fumbling in your underpants, and you're like, what is happening? This is not...
This isn't what they showed.
This isn't satin sheets, you know? Like, this is like, ow, wait a minute, you pokey man, you know? Pokey boy. So that's pretty much it.
All right. So when and how did you first really learn about sex? Beyond General Hospital.
Yeah.
Right? Beyond that.
Yeah. Well, I think experience is where it's at, right? I mean, and I had a high sex drive at a young age, and I was one of those aggressive girls who, you know, wanted to make out with boys and wanted to have sex. I mean, you know, you might want to call me a slut in school.
But I call you excited
but I really
and ambitious.
wasn't. I basically had a different boyfriend every year, you know? Like, I had my senior high school boyfriend, my junior high school boyfriend. It's like you experiment, you learn with every partner. You know that. Yeah. I mean, every partner teaches you something that you like or perhaps what you don't like.
Exactly.
And you know what? The greatest joy was finding vibration. I got to tell you. Because when you're younger and you're discovering sex with a male partner, you know, I think that boys who watched a porno or snagged their dad's Penthouse magazine and, you know, brought it into the bathroom and read some of the articles, there's just, like today, there's this unrealistic expectation that happens, and, you know, you're just a teenage girl trying to figure it out too,
right.
Or, you know, it's work to become a sexual being, and practice and experience, I think, is what creates us and molds us into the sexual beings that we become as adults and parents. And, you know, suddenly you're going through menopause, you know, like life is quite a roller coaster when it comes to sex, you know.
It's like an ongoing sexual journey. You just
it is
keep learning the different things your body needs at every phase.
Yes.
But I do like the beginning, you know, it's with every partner. I've thankfully been able to dip into many pots, so I've had a great time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Don't discriminate there. Yeah. What you got, come on over. And it is, you get to learn your body more, which is probably the biggest thing, people to be able to advocate for themselves. What do I like? How do I share that? And yeah, it was very fun to kind of just sexually grow as a person. I don't really think you ever stop. It's a beautiful part of it, right?
It's just a constant evolution. And, you know, finding out how to ask your partner for things is something that takes a long time to find your sexual voice.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I think when you're younger, you're afraid of being shamed, afraid of sounding weird, afraid of, you know, what the person might say about you afterwards. I mean, there's so many things that go into finding your sexual voice, but, you know, one of the most beautiful things is finding it and letting it come forward. And I think that happens with age and maturity, really.
I think it does too. I was just thinking back, I'm like, okay, when was I, you know, sexually vocal, and was that actually what I want? I'm trying to think, you know, when I found my voice and what it actually was. Probably going to say after I joined Athena's, and I learned that there is no shame about who I am and what I want. And yeah, maturity then, I'd say. Yeah, I don't know. If I were to say what I wanted, though, I'm very aggressive, too. Yeah. I'm like, why don't you shut the fuck? Go ahead and sit down. Just take your pants off. I totally got this. Just look at me.
I love that. I love it.
I'm going to own you, take a little bit of your soul when I leave.
Yes. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Thank goodness we didn't have a high school reunion. I didn't need to see anybody. I already saw y'all, okay? We're good. We're good.
I love that.
So it's just, it really is, you know, finding what lights you up and looking at the reasons why it lights you up. So I love that. That was good. Let's go to the next question, baby. All right. I feel like we may have just spoke about what this inspiration is in this next question. What inspired you to start Athena's Home Novelties? And did you ever imagine it becoming a company it is today?
Boy, that is a deep question, Lauren.
It is.
What inspired me to start Athena's is that I was not sexually satisfied by male partners, and I felt that I needed more, and a vibrator was it. And when I used a vibrator and had that like first explosive orgasm,
you're like, wow, this is what it's supposed to be. And
I wanted to tell everybody.
To the moon.
I wanted to share it with everybody. I wanted to talk about it with everybody. I wanted to make sure everybody that I knew knew what this was. Yeah. And, you know, so we're talking the 90s, right? And again, sex was not as out in the open as it is today. Sexual health and wellness, you never heard those words. Intimacy wellness, you didn't hear anything like that.
No.
Most women my age, like when I was in my 20s, still carried a lot of the stigmas, like, you know, sex is bad, if you have sex with a lot of different boys, you're a slut, you know, like, and no sexual voice, no talk of the clitoris, and, you know, I mean, we have this expectation of what was supposed to be sexy, like the girl on the White Snake video rolling around on the hood of the car there, but don't be too slutty, because then, you know, like, wow, you're a dirty girl, no one's going to want to be with you, you know, like there's this crazy dynamic that plays out, and I wanted to stand up in front of women and say, you deserve pleasure, you deserve orgasms, and these devices will help you have explosive orgasms with your partner, all alone, whatever you decide. And that's exactly what I did. And it caught on. I mean, and despite the fact that people told me I was crazy and that I, again, you know, only sluts talk about sex, and, you know, I mean, I had so many obstacles over the years that I had to overcome, whether it was the city trying to shut me down, you know, saying that we were, you know, doing something illegal or whatever. I'm so glad that my clients were like, we'll go to City Hall.
We'll do it. It doesn't matter.
We'll wave our dildos in the air, you know. We'll wave our pink bunnies in the air, you know, to protect you and what you're doing.
Wave our pink bunnies? Is that what they would have?
Yeah. Aww. Oh, yeah. They were ready.
Those rabbit vibes.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. That life-changing.
Yeah. Rabbits was a whole big deal.
And I've watched the sex toy industry change dramatically in the over 30 years that I've been in it. From materials. I mean, everything used to be jelly vinyl or hard plastic.
Oh, I remember that.
You know, so to see the evolution of, you know, no more batteries, no more cords. I mean, it's unbelievable, the technology that has advanced pleasure toys into something much safer.
Yes.
And more variety and, you know, innovation. So I'm very glad. And you asked me, did I ever think that Athena's would, you know, what Athena's would evolve into? Did I ever imagine
Did you imagine becoming this?
So when I started, it wasn't about like national takeover. It was just, I want to, one party at a time, inspire people in my community. And now suddenly I'm the next town over, and the next town over, and the next town over.
It's a wave. It's starting up the
Spread.
wave.
Yes, and it was like our own manifest destiny, where suddenly it's not in Rhode Island, now it's in Massachusetts, now it's in New Hampshire, now it's in Maine, now it's going south, it's in Connecticut, it's in New York, it's in New Jersey. I mean, and now it's in Texas, and it's in Florida, and it's in California. It was unbelievable to watch it grow, and I had no expectation. I just wanted to talk about sex and make people happy.
Yeah, and I think that's a message that so many people needed then, and so many people still need now.
Oh my gosh, do they ever. The stress of life. Whoa. An orgasm is like a little mini vacation, you know?
It is. It sure is, depending on which one you use. If the womanizer, you could be on that ride for a little bit. 13 in a row.
Oh my God, I love that.
So, let's ask this one, though, too. What's one thing that you wish more people understood about sexual wellness and or pleasure products?
Ooh, that's a good question. One thing that I wish people knew. I wish they knew that using a sex toy is such a good way to connect to your own body and the body of your partner if you have one. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to feel weird about. And, you know, the idea of owning one and using one is so empowering. And that's what you should be thinking about when you think about sex toys, how empowering they are. Not anything shameful, no negativity, you know, no, it's an empowering thing to own an adult toy.
Or a collection.
Or, yes, or 3 drawers full.
Yes, a couple closets. But and that is, it, for me, I think, you know, it is the highest form of self-care, the highest version of self-love. And if that's what fills you up, why would you deny yourself that? It's a gift to give your body new experiences. Without hearing the shame of others. So I hope you hear us today and just, we get really excited and stoked for you as you step into this new sexual portal of like advancement, of authenticity. That's what these parties do, and that's what talking about these things do on this podcast. And no shame here. We got none of that.
None. And one of the great things, too, about the parties, Lauren, is that, you know, some people just sit on their phones and scroll and scroll and scroll and, you know, make their purchases there on the internet, when you can come to one of these parties and you can laugh with your friends, you can learn something new, you can connect with your friends, connect with yourself. I mean, it's just, and then you go home like totally inspired to practice self-care, to practice self-love, and you've been around other people, and you know, the majority of our parties are women, so the idea that you can connect with other women is just this primal urge.
It is.
You know, from the days of women sitting around fires and telling stories and pagan rituals. I mean, we can still do that today and connect and just put the phone down and look in the eyes of your best friend and just laugh. You know, while you're holding a sex toy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes you try to poke them in the cheek with it, but
it's so fun.
It's something different. It's a celebration of women, or it's a celebration of when you have co-ed parties. You know, if I conduct those, it's a celebration of look at all the fun things you can try. It's a celebration, and also like a giant fucking invitation. It's something. So we invite you to think about it and see if you need. You're craving, right? You want a little circle of friends around you to talk about this stuff, shame-free, and just be inspired to love yourself better, love your partner better, but definitely love you better too. You can't really pour from an empty cup.
And to see all the different things that are out there, the different gadgets that exist, you know? I mean, there's so many different types of products that can enhance your relationship, and you get to see them, you get to touch them, you get to, all right, this one's a little too loud for me, I've got 3 kids, I need one a little quieter, okay? You know, you really get to examine the products up close. It's not just on the internet where you're like, well, I'll hope for the best that this is a good toy for me, I hope that the size is right. You really get to handle the things and see them up close and make really educated decisions about your pleasure.
And that's the thing. Sometimes you need the best way to make that decision is to hold something in your hand, and you know instinctively, all right, this I like this one.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like finding your magic wand. That's what I call it. And when you get to learn all these new things about what's out there, you know, I hope that it gives you a chance to expand and really think about, oh, there's so many more possibilities than I thought. And that's what's the best part of these parties. You can't see these things online. If it's Bath and Body, you can't, you know, smell that through the screen. It doesn't work that way. So it's just really inviting you into a space where you're able to choose for yourself. It's a very empowerment thing. You chose to go there, so you're able to learn all these things about sexual anatomy, pleasure education, you know, just, yeah, all these toys and gadgets, the safety, you know, the different materials and how far we've come, and, you know, how far you want to come.
And come.
Yep. So if you haven't had a party, go ahead and look up Athena's Home Novelties online. They'll find you somebody that's close to your area. We got you. And I got you. If I'm, you know, you're listening to this, you're probably close to me, we hope. And if you're not, you're in a different country, well, welcome to the show. I'm so excited that we've grown that far, right?
Yes, welcome.
Let's talk about your relationship with Curtis.
Love this.
Yes. So, here's the deal. You know, when it comes to being a business owner, I wanted to ask, you know, questions that really help you guys stay connected. Sometimes staying connected, even now in the digital, you know, world, is a little bit harder, but you've always, from what we talked about before this, you've always made it a key point. So, first question. What have been some of the biggest things you and Curtis have learned together about keeping the passion alive over the years?
So, I have loved Curtis since I was 4 years old. We were neighbors. We saw each other for the first time when I was 4 and he was 6, through the backyard fence. At 14 and 16, we became boyfriend and girlfriend. I took his virginity. Oh, yes, I did. And then my father found my birth control pills and was horrified that I was having sex and broke us up and said we'd never see each other again as long as we lived. Curtis's dad got the visit from my dad, who said that he was going to kill Curtis if he ever came near me again. So Curtis and I broke up, and 10 years later we got back together and got married. After not seeing each other for several years, you know, like I went to his work and said, I'm ready to get married and you're the one. And he's like, I haven't seen you in a few years. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. You're the one. And we've been
known since I was 4.
Yeah. And we've been married for 30 years.
Woo!
30 years. And to tell you what we've learned is that passion and intimacy has to remain a top priority, even through the phases of your life. If you decide to have children, kids are a lot of work. They take up the majority of your energy during the day, and at the end of the day, you have to get in bed with your partner and try to summon up some energy to give each other, because it's so, if you don't, you know, when your kids grow and then you're not connected and you look at each other like, ugh, you know, we were just roommates all this time. I did not want that. I wanted a passionate marriage. And I had to model that for the people that worked for Athena's, the people that went to my parties. So having a priority of connecting and having sex as consistently as we could. Now, I know there's a lot of tired moms out there who have had, you know, a crappy day, and there's laundry, and you got to pay the gas bill, and there's, you know, all these distractions. You know, please look at your partner and go grab their balls and tell them, I love you, you know? I mean, you know, for a lot of men, like, you know, the weight of their heart is not from through their stomach, it's through their penis. So, you know, I truly have loved spending 30 years grabbing him by the balls and saying, I love you, you know, and giving
quite the reinstillment, I would imagine.
Giving him a big passionate kiss. We also instituted a date night where we started going on dates every single week. And I know that that's a lot, but we spent $43. We went down the hill to the Chinese restaurant. My mom watched the kids, because there came a time where I felt we were disconnected, and I needed to have my needs met.
Yeah, you need to insert this ritual.
Totally.
And it sounds like it works.
So we went out for
Savior.
dinner, and I said, I need this. And he said, okay, me too.
Yeah.
And that was it. Weekly date night. And we come home from the Chinese restaurant, and we would make out in the car like teenagers, like we did when we were 14 and 16, and that really reignited a lot of passion. And then now that we're in our 50s, I found my favorite picture of Curtis when he was 16 years old, and I loved him. I just lusted for him and loved him, and just had so much desire for him as a 14-year-old girl. I found that picture that I loved so much, that I carried in my wallet for those 10 years that we were broken up.
Oh my goodness.
And I taped it to my computer that I work on, and I look at him every day as that young, handsome, sexy guy, and it makes me want to go and make out with him. I look down at it and I'm like, oh,
I love
I just love you so passionately still.
That's brilliant. I love that. And I don't think that was something that you like intentionally did, but you found that, wow, being reminded of the things and how far we've come and like that. Maybe you find yourself a picture of, you know, that maybe that last time or that, you know, that first time that you were like, oh, this is it. Maybe it just keeps you grateful and excited, nostalgic and horny. It's cultivating lust. It's cultivating love. It's cultivating, you know, cultivating gratitude. And I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is one piece of relationship advice that you and Curtis swear by that more couples probably need to hear?
So, we have one rule that we have always followed, and that is we both can't freak out at the same time, because life is challenging. It's filled with challenges. Sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's hourly. We had an autistic child, so I mean, we had a lot of crazy things going on, and I had a business that, you know, had over 1,000 consultants, and I mean, nuts. Like, life is crazy.
It is.
And you both can't freak out at the same time. You both have to have this, like, all right, I can see you're upset. I'm here for you. What do you need from me? You know, and it has to be reciprocal. You can't be the one always giving. You have to pass that ball back and forth to each other.
Amen.
On a daily basis. You know, don't freak out at the same time. That's the big rule. Oh, and our other rule, I'll give you number 2, which is we never swear at each other. I never call him names out of anger. He never calls me names out of anger. 30 years, he has never sworn at me. He has never called me a name. He has never belittled me. So that's big too. Find someone who's going to love you enough not to call you names.
Yeah, that's a big deal, yeah. When I'm thinking about it, Dan's never called me a name.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit earlier too, that it's like when they can read like your energy, kind of, if you're not able to say what you want, sometimes they can pick up on what you need without you having to say it. The longer that you establish these types of intimacies, you know, and cultivating this deep respect for one another.
Absolutely. Respect is big.
Shoot. All right.
What else you got for me, Lauren?
Last question. For anyone just beginning their journey towards sexual empowerment, what is the one thing you want them to know?
That you deserve it. You deserve all the orgasms, all the juicy pleasure. You deserve it all. And make sure you are taking care of yourself and putting as much effort into your partner as you should, you know? Like Curtis and I, you talk about love rituals. I'm going to tell you one more.
Yes.
So we developed a love ritual in the morning where I make him breakfast. He's a chef, so I can't make a dinner that's going to compare with anything that he makes. So I make breakfast. And after breakfast, I pull up my shirt, and he has, or my pajama top or whatever, and he or open up my robe, and he has what we call breakfast titties. So he just rubs my titties, he puts his face in my titties, he kisses my titties, he rubs them and tells me I have great titties, and that's breakfast titties. And at night when we go to bed and he rolls over and faces the wall when it's time to go to sleep, I say, "You ready for back titties?" And I put my titties against his back and we go to sleep like that. I mean, you gotta have these playful, loving rituals for each other that keep you connected and keep you playful. Like I said, we're in our 50s now, but we're still playful as we were when we were teenagers, just still trying to find ways to discover each other. So my advice for you, if you are in a loving relationship, is to create rituals that bring you playful, passionate joy every single day, even when you're stressed out. Because you know what? Great sex will help you with your stress levels.
Absolutely. And when you get those playful rituals where it's, you know, a little half naked, it's a little bit easier to get all the way there, right? Imagine those who just don't even show that part of themselves to people anymore. Sometimes they shut down completely.
Yeah.
Oh, my friends, this was an incredible chat. I am so excited that you stayed with us for 25 minutes. If you want to hear more about Jen, definitely follow Jennifer Jolicoeur on TikTok. Check out the Athena's Home Novelties to learn a bit more about her and her absolute mission for anybody she meets. And let's carry it on through, right? Until next time, my friends, I appreciate you listening. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate you being
Lauren,
here
I
with
love
me.
you.
I love you too.